Imagine a civilization that rose from a small cluster of huts on the Tiber River to dominate the known world, a society that sculpted laws, philosophies, and infrastructures so enduring that they echo through millennia. How did Rome, a city born of myths and fratricide, transform into an empire so vast that it was said the sun never set on its territories? And how did this mighty colossus eventually crumble under its own weight, leaving behind only ruins and legends? This is the story of the Roman Empire, a tale of ambition, conquest, betrayal, and an enduring legacy that shaped the world as we know it. The Roman Empire's story begins with myth and violence. According to legend, in 753 BCE, Romulus and Remus, twin sons of Mars, the god of war, were abandoned at birth and raised by a she-wolf. Their survival and ascent set the stage for a kingdom born out of conflict. When the twins grew older, a bitter argument over where to found their city turned deadly. Romulus killed Remus, becoming Rome's first king and giving the city its name. Rome's monarchy was characterized by the rule of 7 kings, each contributing to its early growth. Romulus established Rome's basic institutions, including the Senate and citizen assemblies. His successors, such as Numa Pompilius, are credited with religious and legal reforms, while others, like Tullus Hostilius, expanded Rome's territory through warfare. The influence of neighboring cultures like the Etruscans profoundly shaped early Rome. The construction of the Cloaca Maxima, a sewer system, and the Forum demonstrated early engineering skill. However, Rome's kings often wielded their power ruthlessly, culminating in the reign of Tarquin the Proud. Tarquin's tyrannical rule ended in revolution. His expulsion in 509 BCE, following the tragic story of Lucretia, a noblewoman whose violation by Tarquin's son sparked outrage, marked the end of the monarchy. This moment ushered in a new era, the Roman Republic, and laid the foundation for centuries of political evolution. The Roman Republic began with a fierce determination never to allow the return of tyranny. Its new political system balanced power among elected officials, magistrates, and a senate dominated by the patrician class. Yet this balance was often fragile, as the plebeians, commoners, fought for their rights in a long struggle known as the conflict of the orders. The 12 Tables, Rome's first codified laws, emerged from this conflict in the mid-5th century BCE, symbolizing a significant step toward equality. These laws governed everything from property disputes to family obligations and became a cornerstone of Roman legal tradition. The Republic's strength lay in its military prowess. Rome's citizen soldiers were highly disciplined, organized into legions that innovated tactics and weaponry. Their skills were tested in a series of wars with neighboring tribes and city-states, culminating in Rome's dominance over central Italy. However, Rome's ambitions soon extended beyond Italy. The Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE, against Carthage, became a defining chapter. The Second Punic War was particularly harrowing, as Hannibal Barca led a daring invasion through the Alps, bringing war to the heart of Italy. Despite devastating losses, Rome's resilience prevailed. Under Scipio Africanus, the Romans defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Zama, ensuring Rome's supremacy in the Western Mediterranean. The Republic expanded further eastward, absorbing Greece, Asia Minor, and other territories. Rome's conquests brought immense wealth but also new challenges. The influx of slaves and riches exacerbated inequality, as the elite amassed vast estates while the common people struggled. Political tensions boiled over in the late Republic. Reformers like the Gracchi brothers sought to redistribute land and wealth, but their efforts ended in violence. The Republic's institutions proved ill-equipped to manage the growing power of military generals, who increasingly acted as political kingmakers. By the 1st century BCE, figures like Marius, Sulla, Pompey, and Julius Caesar dominated Roman politics. Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon in 49 BCE symbolized the Republic's final descent into autocracy. His assassination in 44 BCE only deepened the chaos, as his heirs, Octavian and Mark Antony, vied for control. Octavian's victory at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE marked the end of the Republic. In 27 BCE, he became Augustus, the first emperor, ushering in the Roman Empire. The The ascension of Augustus in 27 BCE marked the dawn of the Roman Empire and an era of unprecedented stability and prosperity. As the first emperor, Augustus carefully maintained the illusion of republican values, referring to himself as princeps, or first citizen, rather than a king or autocrat. Behind this facade, he held absolute power, controlling the military, finances, and the Senate. Augustus's reign heralded the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability lasting over 2 centuries. He reformed the administration, established a professional standing army, and created a network of roads connecting the vast empire. The Ara Pacis, an altar commemorating the peace Augustus brought, symbolized the era's ideals. Under Augustus, Rome flourished culturally. Writers like Virgil, Ovid, and Horace celebrated Roman achievements in literature, while monumental architecture, such as the Mausoleum of Augustus and the Pantheon, transformed the city's skyline. After Augustus, his successors in the Julio-Claudian dynasty, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, and Nero, presided over a mix of competent governance and personal excesses. Tiberius strengthened the empire's finances, but grew increasingly reclusive. Caligula's reign was infamous for extravagance and alleged madness, while Claudius expanded the empire by conquering Britain. Nero, however, epitomized the dangers of unchecked imperial power. His reign saw the Great Fire of Rome in 64 CE, for which he controversially blamed the Christians, initiating the first major persecution of the fledgling religion. Nero's mismanagement and tyranny led to his overthrow in 68 CE, plunging Rome into the chaos of the Year of the Four Emperors. Order was restored by Vespasian, founder of the Flavian dynasty, who commissioned the Colosseum, an enduring symbol of Roman engineering and entertainment. His sons, Titus and Domitian, continued his legacy. Titus's reign was marked by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE, which buried Pompeii and Herculaneum, while Domitian's autocratic rule ended with his assassination. The apex of imperial stability came under the so-called 5 good emperors: Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. Trajan expanded the empire to its greatest territorial extent, conquering Dacia and leaving a lasting legacy with the construction of Trajan's Column. Hadrian, his successor, consolidated Rome's borders, building Hadrian's Wall in Britain and focusing on cultural and administrative advancements. Antoninus Pius presided over a period of peace, while Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher king, defended the empire against barbarian invasions. His Meditations remains a seminal work of Stoic philosophy. However, his death in 180 CE marked the end of the Pax Romana. Following the rule of the 5 good emperors, the Severan dynasty grappled with growing challenges. Septimius Severus strengthened the military, but at the cost of straining the economy. His successors faced mounting threats, including internal power struggles and external invasions from Germanic tribes and Parthians. By the 3rd century, cracks in the empire's foundations became evident. The army's dominance over political affairs eroded stability, and economic crises, including inflation and a debased currency, compounded Rome's struggles. The seeds of the empire's decline were sown, even as it remained a formidable power. By the mid-3rd century CE, the Roman Empire faced one of the darkest periods in its history, a time of chaos, fragmentation, and near collapse, known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century. This era tested the empire's resilience as internal and external threats pushed it to the brink of disintegration. The crisis began in 235 CE with the assassination of Emperor Alexander Severus by his own troops. His death ushered in a half-century of instability, where over 20 emperors ascended the throne, many through violent coups. This period of barracks emperors was marked by the dominance of military generals who prioritized loyalty from their legions over Rome's broader stability. Few of these emperors ruled for long. Figures like Maximinus Thrax, who rose from humble origins to seize power, and Gallienus, who struggled to maintain control amid invasions, exemplified the volatility of the time. Civil wars frequently erupted as rival claimants fought for supremacy. fracturing the empire's unity. The empire's borders came under relentless attack from multiple directions. In the east, the Sassanid Empire under the ambitious King Shapur Thiar dealt Rome a humiliating blow by capturing Emperor Valerian in 260 CE, the first time a Roman emperor was taken prisoner. In the north, Germanic tribes such as the Goths and Alemanni crossed the Danube and Rhine, ravaging Roman provinces. The sea, too, became perilous. The rise of pirate activity disrupted vital trade routes, further destabilizing the economy. Cities were sacked, farmland was abandoned, and provincial loyalty to Rome waned as local leaders sought their own solutions. The relentless wars drained the empire's treasury, and to fund the legions, emperors resorted to debasing the currency, leading to rampant inflation. The once thriving trade networks faltered, and the empire's urban centers suffered as their populations declined due to famine, disease, and economic hardship. Society itself began to fray. The burdens of taxation and military conscription fell heavily on the lower classes, causing unrest in rural areas. Many sought refuge in self-sufficient estates, a precursor to the feudalism that would later define medieval Europe. Despite the turmoil, there were brief moments of recovery. Emperor Aurelian, 270 to 275 CE, known as the Restorer of the World, reunited fragmented parts of the empire. He defeated Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, who had declared independence in the east, and reclaimed the breakaway Gallic Empire in the west. Aurelian also fortified Rome itself by building the Aurelian Walls, a defensive measure signaling the city's growing vulnerability. His efforts, however, could not fully stabilize the empire. Aurelian's assassination underscored the challenges of maintaining power during this chaotic era. The tide began to turn with the rise of Diocletian in 284 CE. Recognizing that the empire had grown too vast and complex for one man to govern, Diocletian implemented sweeping reforms. He divided the empire into two parts, east and west, each ruled by an emperor, Augustus, and a junior co-emperor, Caesar, creating the tetrarchy system. Diocletian also addressed economic woes by standardizing currency and instituting price controls. His tax reforms aimed to stabilize revenue, though they placed heavy burdens on the populace. On the military front, he fortified borders and reorganized the army to better defend against invasions. Diocletian's reign marked a temporary end to the chaos. His abdication in 305 CE, however, revealed the fragility of the tetrarchy as power struggles quickly resumed. Still, his reforms laid the groundwork for the empire's survival in the east, even as the west faced continued decline. The reign of Diocletian set the stage for a renewed Roman Empire, but it was Constantine the Great who reshaped its character and destiny. His rule marked the transition from a pagan empire to a Christian one, and saw the establishment of Constantinople as a new center of power. The chaos following Diocletian's abdication gave rise to fierce struggles among claimants to the throne. Constantine emerged as a key figure after his dramatic victory at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 CE. According to legend, he saw a vision of a Christian cross with the words, "In hoc signo vinces." In this sign, you will conquer. This experience led him to adopt Christianity as his guiding faith. In 313 CE, Constantine and his co-emperor Licinius issued the Edict of Milan, granting religious tolerance throughout the empire and ending the persecution of Christians. Constantine's favor towards Christianity grew, and he actively promoted the religion by funding churches and granting privileges to Christian clergy. In 330 CE, Constantine founded a new capital on the ancient Greek city of Byzantium, naming it Constantinople. Strategically located on the Bosporus Strait, it served as a bridge between Europe and Asia, making it ideal for trade, defense, and governance. Constantinople became the heart of the Eastern Roman Empire, symbolizing a shift in power from Rome to the east. Constantine's rule also centralized authority. He consolidated power by eliminating rivals and ruling as sole emperor, laying the groundwork for a more autocratic imperial structure. His reforms in administration, economy, and military organization further stabilized the empire. Christianity's rise as the dominant religion marked a profound transformation. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, convened by Constantine, sought to unify Christian doctrine and address heresies, particularly Arianism, which questioned the nature of Christ's divinity. The Nicene Creed, established at the council, became a cornerstone of Christian theology. The imperial endorsement of Christianity reshaped Roman society. Pagan temples gradually declined in prominence, and Christian symbols began to appear in public spaces and official art. However, the shift also sparked tensions between Christians and traditionalists, as well as among various Christian sects. After Constantine's death in 337 CE, his sons inherited a divided empire, leading to conflicts and instability. The empire was briefly reunited under Constantius II, but internal divisions persisted. The rise of Julian the Apostate, 361 to 363 CE, who attempted to restore paganism, demonstrated the deep religious and cultural transformations underway. Theodosius I, the last emperor to rule both East and West, solidified Christianity's dominance by making it the state religion in 380 CE through the Edict of Thessalonica. Pagan practices were banned, and Christian orthodoxy became the foundation of imperial policy. Theodosius's death in 395 CE marked the permanent division of the Roman Empire into eastern and western halves, ruled by his sons Arcadius and Honorius. The Eastern Empire, centered in Constantinople, thrived under its rich resources and strategic location, while the Western Empire faced mounting pressures from internal decay and external invasions. The Constantinian shift transformed the Roman world, but the challenges of maintaining unity and stability foreshadowed the Western Empire's ultimate demise. The final centuries of the Western Roman Empire were marked by relentless decline and eventual disintegration. This chapter delves into the culmination of internal decay, external pressures, and a series of pivotal events that brought the Western Empire to its knees in 476 CE, ending centuries of Roman dominance in the West. In 395 CE, following the death of Emperor Theodosius I, the Roman Empire was permanently divided into two halves. The Eastern Empire, ruled by Arcadius, prospered from its wealthier provinces and the stronghold of Constantinople. In contrast, the Western Empire under Honorius inherited significant challenges. Its territories were more exposed to barbarian incursions, and its economy was weaker. While the Eastern Empire fortified itself and thrived, the Western Empire became increasingly isolated. With the capital shifting between Milan and Ravenna for strategic reasons, the grandeur of Rome itself began to fade, symbolizing the decline of imperial authority. The borders of the Western Empire faced relentless pressure from various barbarian groups. The Visigoths, led by Alaric, sacked Rome in 410 CE, a shocking event that signified the vulnerability of the once mighty empire. This was followed by waves of invasions from the Vandals, who swept through Gaul and Spain before establishing a kingdom in North Africa. In 455 CE, the Vandals, under their king Gaiseric, famously sacked Rome again, leaving the city a shadow of its former self. Meanwhile, the Huns, led by the fearsome Attila, wreaked havoc across the empire's frontiers before being halted at the Battle of the Catalonian Plains in 451 CE. Internal political instability compounded the external threats. The Western emperors became increasingly puppet-like, controlled by powerful generals and court officials. Figures like Stilicho and Ricimer wielded significant influence, but often pursued personal ambitions over the empire's stability. The Western imperial court was plagued by corruption, ineffective leadership, and a lack of resources. Tax revenues dwindled as territories were lost, and local aristocrats prioritized their estates over supporting the central government. This decentralization further weakened the empire's ability to respond to crises. The Western Empire's economic infrastructure had been eroding for centuries. The debasement of currency, dwindling agricultural production, and loss of lucrative provinces like North Africa devastated the economy. Urban centers declined as trade routes disintegrated, and many cities were abandoned. Social cohesion also frayed. The gap between the elite and the common populace widened, leading to widespread discontent. As central authority weakened, local leaders took on defensive and administrative roles, laying the groundwork for the feudal systems of the medieval era. The Western Empire's demise culminated with the deposition of the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, in 476 CE, by the Germanic warlord Odoacer. Romulus, a boy emperor installed by his father, ruled in name only. When Odoacer declared himself king of Italy, he sent the imperial regalia to Constantinople, signaling the end of Roman rule in the West. This event, while significant, was less cataclysmic than it appeared. By 476 CE, the Western Roman Empire was already a hollow shell, with its provinces functioning more like independent kingdoms than parts of a unified state. Although the political structure of the Western Roman Empire collapsed, its cultural and institutional legacy endured. The Latin language evolved into the Romance languages. Roman law influenced legal systems across Europe, and the Catholic Church preserved many aspects of Roman governance and culture. The end of the Western Empire marked the transition to a new era, the Middle Ages. The Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, would carry on the Roman legacy for nearly 1,000 more years, but the West's fall underscored the fragility of even the greatest empires. The fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 CE did not mark the end of Roman rule. Instead, the Eastern Roman Empire, more commonly known as the Byzantine Empire, continued to carry the Roman torch for nearly a millennium. The Byzantine Empire, with its capital in Constantinople, preserved much of Rome's culture, administration, and military structure, even as it evolved into a distinct entity. This chapter explores the history of the Byzantine Empire, from its early successes to its eventual fall in 1453. After the collapse of the Western Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire under Emperor Zeno continued to thrive. Its capital, Constantinople, had been established by Constantine the Great and became the epicenter of Byzantine power, trade, and culture. Geographically situated at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Constantinople was well protected by natural barriers such as the Bosporus Strait, which helped defend it from invaders. Initially, the Byzantine Empire remained largely unchanged from its Roman roots. Emperors continued to rule with absolute power, and Roman law remained the foundation of governance. The Byzantine military, although distinct from the Roman legions, followed similar tactics and organization. However, the empire began to evolve culturally and religiously, especially with the rise of Christianity as the state religion. The Byzantine Empire reached its zenith under Emperor Justinian I, 527 to 565 CE, whose reign marked a period of territorial expansion and legal reform. Justinian sought to reconquer the lost western provinces of the Roman Empire, including North Africa, Italy, and Spain. His military general, Belisarius, led successful campaigns against the Vandals in North Africa and the Ostrogoths in Italy. In addition to military victories, Justinian is best remembered for his legal reforms. The Corpus Juris Civilis, body of civil law, a comprehensive codification of Roman law, became the foundation for legal systems throughout Europe and the Western world. These legal reforms, along with his ambitious public building projects like the Hagia Sophia, solidified Justinian's legacy. However, Justinian's territorial gains were short-lived. The empire faced significant pressure from both the east and west, with threats from the Persians and later the Arabs, as well as internal strife and economic burdens. The western territories were slowly lost, and the empire shifted its focus to defending its eastern borders. One of the defining events of the Byzantine Empire was the iconoclast controversy, which divided the empire along religious lines. Beginning in 726 CE, Emperor Leo III initiated the policy of iconoclasm, which sought to ban the veneration of religious icons and images. This policy was deeply unpopular with with the clergy and large sections of the population, leading to significant social unrest and a series of religious conflicts. The controversy split the Byzantine Empire, with iconoclasts, those who opposed the use of icons, supported by the imperial court, and the iconophiles, those who supported the veneration of icons, backed by the church. The conflict continued for over a century, only officially ending in 843 CE, when Empress Theodora restored the veneration of icons. This period of religious conflict marked a shift in the relationship between the Byzantine state and the church, laying the foundation for the later schism between the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches. By the 11th century, the Byzantine Empire began to show signs of decline. The empire faced constant military threats from the Seljuk Turks, culminating in the Battle of Manzikert in 1071, where the Byzantine army was decisively defeated. This loss resulted in the loss of most of Anatolia, which was a vital source of resources for the empire. Over the next several centuries, the Byzantine Empire struggled to maintain its former glory. The Fourth Crusade in 1204 CE marked a turning point, as Crusader forces sacked Constantinople, temporarily establishing the Latin Empire in its place. Although the Byzantines regained control of the city in 1261, the empire was severely weakened and its territories were fragmented. By the mid-15th century, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self, reduced to Constantinople and a few small territories. The Ottoman Turks under Sultan Mehmed II had been steadily encroaching on Byzantine lands. On May 29, 1453, after a prolonged siege, Constantinople fell to the Ottomans. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine the XI Palaiologos, died defending the city, marking the end of the Roman Empire's 2,000-year legacy. The fall of Constantinople was a significant moment in world history, symbolizing the end of the medieval era and the rise of the Ottoman Empire. Despite its collapse, the Byzantine Empire left an indelible mark on world history. Its preservation of Roman culture, its development of Orthodox Christianity, and its role in the transmission of classical knowledge to the Renaissance cannot be overstated. While the Western Roman Empire fell in 476 CE, the Byzantine Empire carried the legacy of Rome for nearly 1,000 more years. The Byzantines preserved Roman law, administrative practices, and military traditions, which influenced both the Eastern Orthodox Church and medieval Europe. The cultural, architectural, and intellectual achievements of the Byzantines were foundational to the development of Europe in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Though Constantinople fell, the impact of the Byzantine Empire continued through the transmission of classical knowledge to the West, the preservation of Christian traditions, and the enduring influence of Byzantine art and architecture. In this way, the Byzantine Empire was not just a continuation of Rome. It was the last vestige of the Roman legacy in a world that had dramatically changed. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the history of the Roman Empire. From its rise to unprecedented power, to its ultimate fall and lasting legacy, the Roman Empire has shaped the world in ways that are still felt today. If you found this documentary insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on more fascinating historical explorations. Your support helps us continue bringing these captivating stories to life. Until next time, keep exploring history